Hi guys, it's Thursday and I am making myself some lunch. This is a garden spinach herb tortilla by Mission. And then the concoction in the middle has black beans, corn, mango, jalapeno, avocado. It's supposed to, Mary, stop. It's supposed to have green and red bell peppers, but I didn't have any. So I didn't put them in. And then the dressing is lime juice, cilantro, chili powder, pepper. I can't remember. I'll link the recipe for you. Actually, when you see, well, the recipe will actually be over on my next plant-based journey video. It'll be week 5 is where you'll find it. And the recipe online shows this as a salad, but I like putting it in a wrap. And so anyway, this is just really a yummy meal, and it made way more than what I'm going to be able to eat right now. So I'll be able to eat this for probably the next couple of days. And here it is. How is that? Hi guys, it's Friday. And, beyond filming that delicious wrap that I showed you guys yesterday, I filmed 2 other video clips and I had to delete them because I looked so horrible. Something in the Verde Valley is blooming right now that I'm allergic to. And I'm not allergic to things typically. You know, like a lot of people, I get some sniffles in the spring, but, well, okay, so here you go. A few years ago, I was probably more like 4 or 5 years ago. I was having just red eyes all the time, and I thought I was allergic to something. I thought, well, it's got to be pine trees or juniper trees because there were so many of them in Flagstaff. I went to an allergist who did one of those tests where I laid on my stomach, you know, and they put a thing on your back that has all of these they're little tiny needle pricks with different things in them, like you know, whatever, different kinds of food things, pet dander, dust, all of that kind of stuff, and then tons of trees and bushes. And I came up with a teeny tiny reaction to pine and juniper, but not anything that he said would have accounted for my eyes being the way they were. The thing I came up allergic to was willow. And probably in Flagstaff, if there are any willows at all, there might be 2. So we determined after a lot of investigation that it was chronic dry eye, and then Flagstaff is super windy, and so it just, you know, in the spring, it would just really kick up, and it wasn't that I was allergic to something, it was just that there was a lot of pollen and dust in the air, and the wind was blowing it into my eyes, and my eyes weren't producing enough tears to wash it out, and that's why I was getting red eyes. So I've been using Restasis ever since, and things are better, and so, but I'm telling you something yesterday, and I do have, well, this is funny, I have a willow tree in my backyard, and when I saw it, I said, oh, John, a willow. And he said, well, we can cut it down. And I said, why in the world would we do that? We can look across the pasture and we see 100 more willows over there. So it's not going to make any difference if there is a willow tree in my backyard. And I think willows are pretty anyway. I grew up with one in my backyard in upstate New York when I was little. But anyway, but I don't know, the willow is just getting little leaves. I mean, don't you have to have flowers on them to react? If any of you know anything about this, please comment and let me know, because it doesn't seem like there's any flowers. I don't know, do willows flower? Of course, I've only lived in this house for 5 months, so I have no idea. But like I said, back to what I was saying, something I reacted to. And yes, I was blowing my nose a little bit yesterday, but the biggest thing was that my eyes were swelling up. This eyelid was really fat. I mean, I seriously thought, oh, I can, you know, I filmed with no makeup on before. I even put on some foundation and stuff, but I didn't put anything on my eyes. Trying to look a little bit presentable on camera, and it was just horrifying. So I deleted those clips. Anyway, all that to say, one thing I was going to tell you yesterday is that my dad is probably not going to be able to go back to his apartment without assistance, because they're just saying that he's not getting strong enough to be able to, you know, get himself around with a walker. And So we have to investigate. A lot of people there have full-time caregivers. And so we'll just have to investigate how that works and what to do. I was hearing this weird noise, like something was rubbing on something else, and I have a skylight up there and there's a fly in here and it's trying to get out the skylight. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of a sad thing, but they are going to discharge him from skilled nursing on the 13th of March, which is what, not this Sunday, but next. And so that's really good because he's just had it there. And I think that even though he'll be furious about having to have a full-time caregiver, and he'll probably be really mean to the person or persons, it won't be the same person all the time, but he'll probably be really mean and annoyed at first, but that's, you know, we'll tell him, well, there's no other choice. I mean, it's either that or he has to go to another facility or something. So this way he'd be able to be back in his apartment. He get to go down to the dining room every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hang out with his friends, go down to the happy hour that they have there every Friday, go to all the events they have. He would just have somebody who's with him. So yeah. And then the other thing that I found out yesterday, and I think we may have more information today, is that my mother-in-law may have ovarian cancer. We don't know for sure. She went to see a doctor. They did a CT. They said they didn't find a mass, but she's got fluid buildup in her abdomen and a little pain. And Mary, I'm talking. She only first discovered the pain last Thursday, so like a week from when she went to the doctor for the first time, or maybe less than a week. And so the doctor said that he didn't see a mass, but that he wanted her to see an oncologist as soon as possible. That was 2 days ago. She goes today. Her best friend is going with her to, her best friend is a nurse. And so her best friend is going with her to kind of hear, be her second set of ears. And then, well, I won't go into detail. My mother-in-law is an amazing person, and it's just amazing how she's handling the possibility of all of this. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and if we find out that that is indeed what she has, then I'll tell you about what she said. So I'm writing today, and that's pretty much it. Just trying to get my freelance project done, which I think I will probably finish on Monday. Hey guys, what time is it? 5:15 in the evening. John isn't home yet. I finished a little bit shy, or I stopped a little bit shy of my freelance writing goal for today because I wanted to get my tax calculations taken care of. And so now I just have a few things to print out, and then I can send all my stuff off to my tax guy. This weekend, my biggest thing is that I'm going to start painting on that beeswax and jojoba mixture onto my garden beds so that I can get those sealed. Well, they're not really sealed, but protected. And then we're having some people over tomorrow night. I think I have mentioned to you before that my husband and I like mixed martial arts. And so we're having some people over for the fights tomorrow night. And so I'm planning to make a Mexican pasta that has meat and cheese in it, but I'm going to make some on the side for me that doesn't have meat and cheese, and I think it will taste just... It's Saturday, about 20 minutes to 1. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are coming up to Phoenix today, and I think I mentioned that we're having a potluck. So I've just been taking care of some things on the computer, some stuff for work, and straightening up the house. I used my new vacuum this morning, and I'll have to tell you about my new steam cleaner. It's doing a great job on my floors, especially the tiles that were really gross when we moved in. I'll have to do a separate video on that to tell you about what I bought and how it's working, the noticeable difference that there is. Anyway, I was just on my email and there was a email from my mother-in-law who attached a copy of the notes that she and her friend made during her doctor visit, and they can't call it cancer until they have the pathology report back, but it's not good. The doctor said there's a tumor on one ovary, possibly on the other, It looks like it's spread to the lining of the abdomen. He thinks it's stage 3. And it says that there's a 40% chance of survival. But you know what? God is in control. And the best part of it is that my mother-in-law is in good spirits, aside from the fact that she's in pain. And she said that she was ready for the journey and that she's looking forward to what God is going to do and the opportunities that she has to meet people. In her notes, she had the names of the people at the doctor's office listed so that she could be remembering those and praying for them. And you know, what a lovely lady she is, seriously. It's a horrible thing that she's probably going to have to go through, and she's thinking about other people. And that is just my mother-in-law. She is an amazing person. Hi guys, I'm in Flagstaff today. It's Monday, and sorry, when you see this, I will have skipped a vlog. I normally post my vlogs, as you know, on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I just, you know, we kind of got slammed by a couple things in the past week, and of course the biggest being that my mother-in-law, while we don't have the official diagnosis, because apparently until you get the pathology report back, it's illegal for them to call it cancer, but all the markers are there. And in fact, there's a cancer marker. It's called CR125, and it's supposed to be 35 in regular normal people, and my mother-in-law's is over 1200. It just isn't looking good. And she even has apparently they saw a nodule on her lung, and they don't know if that is, I mean, they're gonna go in to see if that's a spread of cancer. It's very possible though, and my father had this. It was a scare where they saw 3 things on his lungs and they thought it was cancer. And as it turned out, they were called, some of you will know what I'm talking about here, valley fever scars. So in Phoenix, there is this disease, I don't know, sickness, whatever, that people get. And pretty much, if you've lived in Phoenix for any length of time, you get valley fever. It's in the soil. And usually it results in a cough and, you know, kind of allergy type symptoms. And a lot of people don't even know that they've had it. The weird thing is that I've never had it. I mean, I've had tests for it before, and I've never had it. But my dad had it, and apparently he didn't know he had it. And but because of the severity, the cough and everything like that, he ended up with these little scars on his lungs from that. And so it wasn't cancer, it was just from that. So my mother-in-law has lived in the Phoenix area for a long time, so it's very possible that that could be valley fever scar. But it's apparently that it looks like there's some involvement in the lining of the abdomen and all of that, and so we just have to pray for her and my father-in-law, who well, the whole family, grandkids, everybody's really attached to my mother-in-law. She's a wonderful person. So that's been tough. And then my dad, we have to meet with, my mom and I have to meet with the head nurse over at his assisted living place to find out. They're saying that he needs a 24-hour caregiver, either that or he needs to move into a home. And they have insurance, long-term care insurance, but it only pays a limited amount for having a caregiver, in addition to, it pays all of where he lives. But it's just, I mean, you'd have to, it would end up being like, I don't know, $50,000 a year or more to have him have a, actually, no, that's not even to have a full-time caregiver. That's just beyond what insurance pays. It would be, and that, yeah, it would be like $50,000 a year. So anyway, John brought it up, and, you know, I knew this, but I wasn't really thinking about it. There is, you've probably seen it before and not even known that you've seen it. But across the pasture from the cows, there is this house there that kind of looks out onto the same pasture. And it is a senior living place, a home. And I actually looked it up, and it has really great reviews. And So I'm going to call that place and find out if they have an opening, because, I mean, wouldn't that be something to have him, you know, just down the road from me, and then I could see him a whole bunch and also go get him, you know, in the evenings sometimes and bring him over for dinner and watch the TV and then take him back. And so I don't know, that's another thing. So my oldest brother, who lives in Florida, called me yesterday, and he was wanting to get filled in on the whole thing, and I sort of felt like I was just tapped yesterday, you know, yeah, well, I don't need to go into detail about that. It's just a lot on your plate, you know. And so I am heading over to campus right now. We have a site visit today from our accreditation body, and at 10:45 I have to go to a meeting of people who supervise advanced programs. And so since I supervise the reading emphasis and reading endorsement programs, I have to be there, and I'm a little bit nervous about what I'm supposed to talk about, but that is where I'm going. It is Tuesday and I'm in Flagstaff again, and gosh, just kind of even thinking, was I even gonna film today? Just feeling like life is knocking the snot out of me right now. We found out that that place, that assisted living place that's near my house, that's like 3 houses away, that one, it has space for one person, but the only room they have is a partial, it's like a shared semi-private room, and the person who's in there right now is a female, so they can't put a male in there, so that one's out. But I'm gonna go with an agent called me yesterday, and he's taking me on Thursday to go look at some different places in Camp Verde. You know, my parents have been paying for long-term care insurance for a long time, and it pays for a lot. But when you get to the level where you need 24-hour care, or like a home, a group home kind of a thing, it gets really expensive. And Flagstaff is ridiculously expensive for everything. I mean, housing is ridiculous, and I don't know if I'd mentioned this before, but just to give you an example, we had a 2,300 square foot house in Flagstaff on just a dinky piece of property in a regular neighborhood, right? And so we sold our house in Flagstaff. Well, okay, we bought the house in Camp Verde. It's on 5 times the land, 500 more square feet in the house. It's a 2,800 square foot house, and it has an external 2-story finished barn, and we got the house in Camp Verde for $25,000 less than what we sold our house for in Flagstaff. And everything is ridiculously priced in Flagstaff. So anyway, so senior care is also really expensive in Flagstaff and significantly less in Camp Verde. So we're gonna look for some stuff like that, but that's just stressing me out. My mom is totally stressed out. Then, you know, I talked to my mother-in-law yesterday, and yeah, I know she's on pain medication, but it just didn't sound good, and I'm really, really concerned about her. And so I'm sorry if, you know, I'm not doing any like exciting things in my vlog, but and who knows what the future is going to bring. So what I'm doing right now is going over to the place where we have our class on Tuesday nights for the nutrition study. I am going there right now this morning. I mean, I go there tonight for the class, but I'm going right now because today they're doing a blood draw and weight and measurement and all that kind of stuff, so I'll be able to tell you if my cholesterol's gone down. Okay, so since the beginning of the study, my waist measurement has gone down 1.5 inches. My height stayed the same. Let's see. The fun numbers are, my blood pressure is relatively the same, and my blood pressure is always low. So, it looks like my bad cholesterol, at the beginning it was 152 and now it's 102. My my good cholesterol is lower than it was before, but the ratio is within the normal range. So she said that was okay because my bad cholesterol came down, that the ratio of good to bad is okay because of that. My triglycerides at the beginning of this study were at 207, and that is in the borderline high range. And today my triglycerides were 112. How's that? Anyway, yeah. So cool. Really good results so far, and I'm just gonna keep plugging along. So you guys, huge relief. My mom and I, we just finished having lunch together, but we talked to the nurse over at the assisted living place, and as it turns out, the people in the skilled nursing section where my dad is have been just sort of like blowing everything out of proportion and trying to convince the head nurse of the whole place that my dad needs the memory unit. And she was saying to us, every time I see him, he calls me by name and chats with me, and she said, I think going to the memory unit would kill him. And so she said that he does not need a 24-hour caregiver, that there's the level of care that they offer there, that my dad is still within the parameters of that. And the social workers were giving my mom this big spiel about how, you know, he wasn't going to be able to live there. And so she's going to go and evaluate him this afternoon, and we are probably going to get him back to his room in less than a week. So I'm very excited. I was really happy that nurse really knows him well, and so she was able to, you know, she didn't just listen to what other people said. So I'm very, very, very happy to hear that. Really excited, and it just takes a level of stress off of life. And my dad, we ran into my dad as we were leaving and told him that Martha was going to come evaluate him and that he was probably going to go back to his room very soon, and he was beaming, very excited about that.
Oh, look at that beautiful sunset.